Hello everybody and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary, where I do the research to try to teach you a little something about what you're drinking. Today I'm going to be talking about one of Ireland's oldest distilleries, Bushmills, and discussing their original expression. So let's get into it. If this is your first time with the channel and you like whiskey reviews, informational videos, or just general whiskey knowledge, make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss anything. So, you may or may not have heard that Bushmills is the oldest Irish distillery, and there may or may not be some truth to that. What's important is that in 1608, King James I granted Sir Thomas Phillips a license to distill whiskey on his property. And there is no real evidence that he did for about 170 years. But in 1784, they were officially branded as Bushmills Distillery. Now this would technically make them 27 years younger than Kilbeggan, so a lot of it depends on your interpretation. That being said, I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to belabor this small data point. So one thing to know is that in 1784, because they were branded, they really pushed the idea that they used this copper pot still. Now they did not invent the copper pot still. Those had been around for hundreds and maybe even 1,000 years, but they really were kind of joined at the hip, and you can see it on their label. I'll put an image up for you guys. So things were good for about 150 years and they were distilling their whiskey, but then war broke out. World War II changed a lot of things about our world, and Bushmills was no exception. Their main headquarters in Dublin was bombed, and they even did their part to house soldiers within their distillery. But between that and Prohibition, they had a few lean years. But the good news was that once the war ended, their business boomed. Everybody seemed to be wanting to buy Bushmills, and they've actually been really prospering ever since. So much so that in 2008, they celebrated their 400-year anniversary. This is going back to 1608. And they were celebrated on a banknote, and they were featured with their copper pot still. So let's talk a little bit more about the whiskey. There are a number of different expressions that Bushmills puts out. They have the original, the Red Bush, which is new, Black Bush, 10-year, 16-year, and 21-year. Now this is made of Bushmills triple distilled, as well as a lighter grain whiskey. So let's see what we get in the nosing and the tasting. So let's go ahead and pour this guy, give it a little nose and a little taste. So this is 40%, so not going to be much viscosity to it. Probably pretty light body, and based on it being Irish, I'm going to guess it's a little fruity. So let's give it a nose. Well, I nailed both of those points. So it is light and fruity. I'd say like apple, green apple, and maybe a little bit of pear in there. But you've got a little bit of honey as well, but mostly it's just not, how do I describe it? It's not dense, like the nose, nothing is prominent, that's the way to put it. There's nothing prominent, everything melds well together, but there's not a whole heck of a lot going on in the nose. There's a little bit of spice in there as well. So let's go ahead and give this a taste. Cheers. So when I taste this whiskey, I keep in mind that it costs $26 and that it's Irish and that it's been around for, despite whatever the numbers say, at least a few hundred years. And I think to myself that I can see why. I can see why this has been around for a while, and I can think that this is a pretty good value. So as far as what I taste, it's very gentle. I think that's a good way to put it. There's no bite to it, which is good in some cases. In this case, I find it good. It matches the nose. It's light on the mouth, and it's got a little bit of honey to it. I think that's about it. There's not a whole heck of a lot more going on in the taste. It's more like drinking watered down honey is not quite the way to put it because it's got more flavor than that, but more like just a subtle honey flavor to it. Anyway, so I first had this whiskey, I was oddly enough in a bar with both of my parents, and I looked at the bar and it was kind of a dive. And I said, all right, what do I want to drink? And I was looking at all the whiskeys, and there was nothing good there. There was Fireball, there was a few others that I won't bother naming. Johnny Walker Red was there. So there really was nothing great. But then I looked and I was like, you know what? I don't think I've ever actually had Bushmills. So I ordered the original, and I figured I would try it. And if it was terrible, then it was only probably like a $5 pour. And I tried it, and I was actually shocked at how much I liked it. I thought it was perfect for the occasion where I was just hanging out at a bar and I wanted something light. I didn't want to get hammered, and I wanted something that wasn't a beer. So that is a great opportunity to drink this. I would not recommend necessarily going out and buying a bottle of this, although at $26, there's no risk there. But order it at a bar, try it. So that would be my recommendation, is to try it. So that being said, I also tried the black that day, and I did like the black a lot. I'll get into that one in a future video. So I wouldn't go searching for this, but I would definitely recommend you try it. So thank you for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers. If you want to help support the channel so I can review all the whiskey you love, check out my Patreon. It's easy to sign up, easy to contribute, and rewards start as low as $1 a month. You can get t-shirts, custom Glencairn glasses, or even come on a live stream. Follow the link in the description to get started.